Her pregnant belly was unmistakable in the tense atmosphere of the shooting range reception area, as the manager's gaze swept from her worn application to her protruding abdomen, a dismissive smile flickering across his lips. "We need fully committed members, not someone who'll soon be on maternity leave," he said coldly, pushing her form aside. Hawthorne Elite Range stood as a temple of precision, its glass and steel facade gleaming under the California sun like a polished bullet. Inside, the air was sharp with gunpowder and privilege, every lane showcasing the ultra-wealthy, high-ranking military officers and athletic prodigies. Black marble floors reflected LED lights, while digital scoreboards displayed names that carried power: children of senators, Olympians, tech titans. Membership wasn't just a fee, it was a bloodline, costing more than most people's mortgages. Emma Mitchell stood on the wrong side of the velvet rope. Her faded olive jacket stretched over her 6-month pregnant belly, her jeans worn but clean. At 32, Emma carried a quiet dignity, despite her pallid skin and the dark circles under her eyes. Her chestnut hair was tied in a simple ponytail, strands escaping to frame her tired but determined face. She carried an old M1 Garand rifle, its woodstock worn smooth by decades of use, slung carefully over her shoulder. The receptionist, Derek, with his slick haircut and blade-like sneer, blocked Emma's path. "This isn't a range for ordinary people," he said, voice dripping contempt. "VIP lanes are for members, not whatever you are." His eyes deliberately lingered on her swollen abdomen. As Emma walked to the lounge, the range's livestream feed turned into a digital gallows. Phones glowed as members posted in real time, their captions forming a public execution. "Welfare shooter." One read, zooming in on her scuffed boots. "She's a joke." Another posted, "Shared by a congressman's son." Vanessa Cole stood, her voice loud enough for the live stream to catch. "Look at her thinking she can shoot with us," she mocked, gesturing at Emma's pregnant form. "This is Hawthorne, not a prenatal clinic." The crowd roared with laughter, comments flooding in, "Kick her out." "Fraud." A boy shouted, "Bet she stole that pass in the trash." Emma's hands remained steady, her hazel eyes fixed forward, but her pale face showed the weight of each word. One hand unconsciously moved to her belly in a protective gesture. The range's interior was a cathedral of competition, its lanes stretching 50 meters under a soaring ceiling. Digital screens tracked every shot, and the low hum of ventilation mixed with the crack of gunfire. Members lounged in leather chairs, sipping $20 lattes, their rifles gleaming with custom engravings. Emma's pregnant figure drew stares like a crack in a mirror. Tyler Reed sprawled in a chair, his $12,000 rifle prop beside him. "Even cleaning staff gets maternity benefits now, huh?" he snorted, his voice carrying across the lounge. His clique of prep school heirs laughed, their eyes slicing through Emma's modest appearance. "What you gonna do, polish the targets between contractions?" one quipped, tossing a spent casing at her feet. Emma stepped over it, her face serene. One hand gently supported her lower back, her silence a shield against their venom. A range instructor, Professor Laura Vance, stepped forward, her tailored blazer a stark contrast to Emma's strained maternity top. "This is highly irregular," she said, voice dripping with false pity. "Hawthorne is for trained professionals, not charity cases with museum pieces and special conditions." She gestured at Emma's rifle, then her belly, diamond earrings glinting. "Your presence here undermines our standards. Perhaps a community range would suit your condition better." The crowd murmured approval, some clapping, their elitism a wall around Emma. "Leave now and we'll forget this embarrassment," Vance added, her words a deliberate cut. Emma's ponytail swayed as she adjusted her rifle, her hazel eyes flickering with buried resolve, but her face remained serene. Vanessa Cole, a sharpshooter with $6,000 custom optics and a modeling contract, adjusted her scope, blonde hair cascading in perfect waves. She glanced at Emma's pregnant form, lip curling. "This is a training ground, not some prenatal yoga class," she said, voice sharp enough to cut glass, amplified by the live stream mic overhead. The range's social media feed buzzed with comments. "Who's this pregnant loser? Get her out." The head coach, Colonel Raymond Pierce, a grizzled ex-Marine with a chest full of medals, stood nearby, irritation plain. Are you sure you even know which end of the rifle you're supposed to hold, lady? In your condition? He barked, tone dripping with disdain. Emma met his gaze, her hazel eyes unwavering despite her tired face. I'll figure it out, she said softly, words a quiet vow. The crowd snickered, phones out, poised for a failure. The billionaire heir Ethan Caldwell was the range's golden boy. A 25-year-old with dark curls, chiseled jaw, and eyes that could charm or burn. His black tactical gear was tailored perfection, and his custom rifle, a $60,000 work of art, gleamed like a predator. He just fired a round. 9.9, 9.8, 9.7. His scores flashing on the digital board to roars of approval. He turned, spotting Emma, her pregnant form standing out starkly against the sleek backdrop, and his grin became a weapon. If you beat me, I'll leave immediately, he said, voice smooth and mocking, loud enough for the live stream. But if I win, you're gone, mommy. The crowd erupted, their laughter a tidal wave. Ethan leaned closer, his breath warm. No pressure, sweetheart. Wouldn't want you stressing in your delicate state. Emma didn't flinch. She nodded once, her silence louder than their jeers. The live stream audience seethed, their hearts with Emma, urging her to shatter their arrogance. The mockery didn't let up as Emma set up at lane 8. Connor Blake sauntered over, his tracksuit screaming wealth. That rifle's a fossil, he sneered, voice carrying to the live stream. Bet it falls apart before you fire, just like your career probably did when you got knocked up. He flicked a coffee stirrer at her feet, grinning. Pick it up, maintenance girl. Careful not to strain yourself. The crowd laughed, phones recording, captions forming. Pregnant trash. Vanessa adjusted her optics, voice cutting. You're embarrassing yourself, hun. Go home before you shoot your foot off. That baby deserves better than a mother making a fool of herself. Coach Pierce stepped closer, clipboard raised like a gavel. This is an elite facility, he said, tone patronizing. We don't have time for amateurs with relics, especially those with distractions. His eyes flickered to her belly. Emma's hands moved with quiet precision, loading her rifle. Her face a mask of calm as she occasionally shifted her stance to accommodate her pregnant form. The range's social media feed was a battlefield, posts piling on, "Hey maternity ward shooter." One read with a close-up of Emma's stretch jacket. "She's a fake." Another commented, shared by a politician's daughter. In the lounge, Tyler Reed stood, voice booming. "Why is she even here? This is our range, not a pregnancy photo shoot." The crowd cheered, their elitism a fortress around Emma. A girl in a designer jacket, Mia Holt, tossed a crumpled score sheet at Emma's feet, calling, "Clean that up, janitor," or is bending over too hard in your condition. The paper skidded across the floor, grazing her boots, but Emma didn't pause. Her ponytail swayed as she checked her rifle. Hazel eyes locked on the target 50 meters out. A retired general, now a range consultant, leaned toward Coach Pierce, voice loud enough for the live stream. "This is what happens when you let scholarships in," he muttered, gesturing at Emma's pregnant form. No breathing technique, no skill, just looking for special treatment because she's expecting. The crowd murmured agreement, phones flashing, capturing Emma's stillness as she placed one hand briefly on her belly before returning to her stance. Connor Blake added, "Bet she's never even fired a gun. Probably stole that pass from Daddy while he was sleeping." The laughter swelled, a vicious chorus. Each were a stone hurled at Emma's dignity. Her fingers brushed her rifle, a faint tremor the only sign of tension. But her face remained serene, her silence a wall against their scorn. Ethan took his turn first, his movement smooth, his rifle an extension of his will. The digital board flashed. 10, 9.9, 10, near perfect, his grouping tight as a fist. The crowd roared, clapping, their smirks aimed at Emma. "Good luck, maternity ward," Ethan called, his grin cocky, eyes daring her to crumble. The live stream comments surged. "She's toast. No way she tops that with a baby bump." Emma stepped to the line, her M1 Garand steady in her hands. She shifted her stance slightly to balance her pregnant form, one hand briefly touching her belly before taking position. The crowd hushed, phones raised, ready for her humiliation. She exhaled, body still. Focus a laser 50 meters out, a tiny red at center among hundreds of rings. The audience held their breath, their anger at her treatment a pulse in their veins. Shot 1, 10. The board chimed, a soft ping that sliced the silence. Murmurs rippled. Lucky shot, Tyler scoffed, crossing his arms. Emma didn't blink, her pregnant form perfectly balanced despite what should have been an awkward stance. Shot 2, 10. The ping came again, sharper now. Vanessa's optics slipped, her smirk fading. Shot 3, 10. The range's congratulatory melody played, a rare chime for 3 perfect shots in a row. The crowd froze, their laughter dying. Beginner's luck, Connor muttered, but his voice cracked. Emma's face remained calm, her hazel eyes locked on the target, one hand occasionally and instinctively touching her belly between shots. The live stream audience leaned closer, hearts pounding, sensing a storm brewing. Shot 4, 10. The melody played again, louder, insistent. Coach Pierce's clipboard trembled in his hands. Shot 5, 10. A headset clattered to the floor, dropped by a stunned athlete. Shot 6, 10. The range was a graveyard. Every eye on Emma, her faded maternity jacket a beacon under the lights. Ethan's grin was gone, his jaw tight, eyes narrowing. The live stream exploded. Who is this pregnant woman? This is insane. Emma's ponytail swayed as she adjusted her grip. Movement precise, almost sacred. Her pregnant form no hindrance to her perfect aim. Shot 7, 10. The melody was a hymn now, echoing off the steel walls. Tyler's face paled, his bravado crumbling. Shot 8, 10. Vanessa ripped off her optics, hands shaking. Shot 9, 10. The crowd was silent. Phones lowered, their mockery a distant memory. Shot 10. Perfect center, overlapping the first bullet, not a millimeter off. The board flashed a new record, 100. The melody played one final time, triumphant, as the system announced. Facility record broken. Emma lowered her rifle, breath steady, hazel eyes sweeping the room. One hand rested protectively on her belly, which seemed to have settled into the calm after her perfect performance. The audience roared, heart soaring, her triumph ablaze that burned away their scorn. She turned calm, dead steady, and spoke, voice soft but piercing. "My father taught me to shoot when I was 6, she said, words cutting through the silence like a blade. He was the #1 sniper in his unit, while you were still learning how to double-click a mouse. This baby," she gently touched her belly, "is learning that being pregnant doesn't make you less capable. It makes you more focused on what truly matters." The crowd parted, heads bowed, their earlier cruelty a weight they couldn't shake. Coach Pierce, the ex-Marine, rose from his chair, eyes shining with respect. He began to clap, slow and deliberate, the sound echoing in the stillness. One by one, others joined, the applause swelling, a tide of reckoning. Ethan stood frozen, mouth twitching, heart stumbling as he saw her smile. Just a flicker, but enough to unravel him. I was an idiot, he said, voice cracking, loud enough for the live stream catch. You're not just better, you're untouchable. The crowd's silence was heavy, their earlier jeers now a collective wound. The range's director, General Marcus Tate, stepped forward, his silver hair catching the LED lights, voice resonant across the lanes. "Emma Mitchell has redefined excellence," he declared, words broadcast to the live stream. Her record of 100 out of 100 is now the benchmark for Hawthorne. He turned to staff, gaze stern. Those who mocked her, Derek, Professor Vance, face suspension pending review. Standards here are about skill, not status or physical condition. The range's hierarchy crumbled in that moment. Connor Blake slunk to the lounge, his tracksuit no shield against the whispers. She owned him. Vanessa packed her gear, her modeling contract suddenly fragile, her arrogance a memory. Tyler's boast died in his throat, his rifle untouched, his clique avoiding his gaze. The live stream trended globally, hashtag pregnant sharpshooter flooding social media. Her 10-shot a myth in the making. The general who'd mocked her stood, face red, and muttered an apology, his words lost in the applause. Emma stood serene, Her faded maternity jacket, now a symbol of victory, her triumph reshaping the range's soul. She felt a small kick inside her belly, as if her baby was applauding too. 3 months later, the range had changed. A new policy welcomed all skilled shooters regardless of appearance or circumstance. Emma's name topped the leaderboard, her record unbroken. She returned occasionally, her baby girl sleeping peacefully in a carrier as Emma demonstrated techniques to aspiring shooters. Ethan had become her unlikely friend, his respect genuine, his previous arrogance tempered by her grace. "You taught me more than shooting," he admitted one day. "You taught me to see beyond appearances." Emma smiled, touching her sleeping daughter's cheek. That's what I wanted her to learn too. Hawthorne Elite Range was no longer just for the elite. It was for the excellent, reshaped by a pregnant woman who'd silence them all with 10 perfect shots. If this story touched your heart, share your thoughts in the comment below. Have you ever been underestimated during pregnancy or seen someone face similar discrimination? Your experiences matter, and every share helps change perceptions about pregnant women's capabilities. Subscribe for more powerful stories that challenge stereotypes and celebrate the strength of expectant mothers.